Well, today we're going to be talking about Hmp Elmley in the Isle of Sheppey, that's in Kent. For those that don't know, I'll start off by saying I have been there. One of the places I spent the least time. Um, I was there many years ago. From what I remember, it's sort of set out like a star sort of shape. Like you say, you have the centre that controls, house block one, and house block two, house block three, house block four, and all being the shape of a star, all in the controlled from the centre. I'm sure it's set out High Down and Belmarsh, and maybe a couple of other jails set out exactly the same. So if you've been to one, I'm sure they're all the same. I've never been to Belmarsh. I've been to High Down and this one, and they are the same. When I was there, I was in a three-man bang-up, or three-man dorm, or a four-man dorm. Three, I think. Think it was three. There was bunk beds one side in the cell I was in, single cell, that single bed that side of the cell, and a separate toilet and a sink. Yeah, I was in a double cell for a week or whatever, and then when I can't remember what house block I was on. I'm sure the names have all changed. Induction, this, first night centre, rehabilitation, rehab, rehousing. I'm sure they've all changed. Whatever that was called back then. They're probably not called that now. But I never had no drama when I was there. Never no trouble. I've heard I've heard conflicting stories about Elmley. I've heard different stories about Elmley. Some people, like I said, I wasn't there for that long, but there wasn't nothing really that went off when I was there. There was no real trouble that I saw. Things go on that a lot of people don't see, don't they? As in life, things always go on behind the scenes, but I never see it. And then I've heard stories from other people say, yeah, it's always kicking off, it's rowdy, there's alarms going off left, right, and centre. And then you get to today, and I think it's a relatively safe jail today. It opened up in '92. It currently holds 1,095 inmates, but the operational capacity is at 1,137. Now I'm sure, I can't remember the exact date, but it's been close to that. Yeah, and I'm presuming the higher the number get, the more trouble and the harder it is going to be to staff. That's just a given. 2,793 prisoners arrive each year. That's 232 a month. 18% of those are foreign nationals. 19.8% of the prisoners are from black and minority ethnic backgrounds. 129 prisoners are released each month. I would have thought it was more than that. I would have thought it was. Why are you saying that? Saying that, I mean, yeah. I suppose it's about right, really. I'm in my head. I'm picturing much more, many more people leaving a prison in the morning, like going home, and it's not that many. It's usually not. You know, how many times have I walked out the gate, and it's usually only a handful of people that you leave with. It's never 20. It's never like 50, 60, 70, 100 people. 38% of the prisoners are known to the substance misuse team, or the relevant team in their area. 350 prisoners are referred for mental health assessment each month. So you've got drugs and mental health. That's not a good mix, is it? Jails are not full of level-headed, substance-free people. Yeah, a lot of happy people don't end up in jail. A lot of people that are going about their 9 to 5, whistling as they work. Hi ho, going there. Never a problem, never a drama, and yeah, they don't end up in jail because they're level-headed. They're not getting on it. They're not worrying about getting money to get on it. So yeah, drugs and mental health. How are you going to eradicate drugs and mental health? You can't. unfortunately, people are going to suffer mental health for whatever reason. Loose wiring, trauma that's happened when they're a kid, and since the dawn of time, man has thought up ways to get on it, ain't they? Let me just eat this fermented apple, see how many I could eat before I get pissed. Let me eat this mushroom with a nipple on the top of it. You know what I mean? We love it, don't we? So yeah, you're never going to eradicate either. It's how you manage them. How do you manage it in jail, man? Plenty of time, plenty of activity, loads of gym, loads of activity. This jail actually seems pretty good. Again, I haven't been at jail for years. I'm only going by the report that I've read from the inspections, from whatever inspection it is, which I'll get to. But yeah, in my untrained, unqualified opinion, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trained professional in any way, shape or form. You want to deal, with when people sit around loads of time on their hands thinking about how bad their life is, that they malinger and want to get on here and all that. So just keep people busy, man. Plenty of gym, loads of gym. The more fit you are, the less time you've got to think about how upset you are up there. Really, it's true. Going to work all the time, doing meaningful things. That's just in my opinion. But what do I know? 500 of these prisoners are Cat C prisoners. It's a Cat B, Cat C local jail. Local means the people that are going to be on remand from the local courts will end up in Elmley. It's basically what a B Cat local is, with a C Cat bit in it. It's for sentenced and remand prisoners. Sentenced prisoners will definitely be the C Cats. There will be B Cats in there that are sentenced as well, but there'll be A Cats in there that are sentenced as well. Yeah. The C Cat unit was opened in 97. It's a relatively new jail, really. I mean, the jail itself was opened in 92. The C Cat unit was opened in 97. House Block 1 is for the first night and induction. House Block 2 is for remand and convicted prisoners. House Block 3 is for substance recovery. So that means if you want subby, fly over there. That's the wing you want to be over. House block not really. It's for substance recovery, and it's where you go to get clean. Clean. You go to have a wash in the shower, clean. Mate. House Block 4 is for remand and convicted prisoners. House Block 5 is for enhanced Category C and full-time workers. So that's the cushy wing. That's the wing that if you've got a brain, that's the wing you want to be on. That's the wing I would try and get over. I ain't got a brain, but I didn't have a brain anyway. It's growing. It's getting bigger every day. I've got a big head. Got a lot of space to fill. A lot of empty space, like dark matter. Yeah, but that's the wing you're going to be over. That's the joking about. Oh, yeah, that's the wing you want to be over for subby. House Block 3. That would be House Block 5, the enhanced Category C full-time workers. You can guarantee that's the wing. It's got everything. Cause that's going to be the wing where everyone, all the clever, half decent people are going to be on. Yeah, they ain't gonna. No one else is going. You don't want to mess about on the convicted and remand wings and the recovery wings and all that wing. If you've got that wing, yeah, people that are already sentenced and just getting on with it. That's the way you want to be. People that are enhanced and getting on with it. So that's House Block 5. House Block 6 is for foreign nationals and sex offenders. That means if you're a poor old Iraqi that's an armed robber, just because you're a foreign national, you've got to bang up with Nancy Nige from No Kill. It's a bit unfair, isn't it? The way they just lump them together, it's what they do in the press as well, isn't it? Murderers, armed robbers, sex offenders. No, why you got to say them three together like they're inclusive, like you're interchanging with those three dirty crimes just between. You know what I mean? I've done armed robbery. I've never been involved in the other two ever. Never come close to it. Yeah. So now the foreign nationals are getting lumped into it. Poor bastards. You know what I mean? Now foreign nationals are getting lumped in with the bacons just because. Planning permission has been granted for House Block 7, and that is a big phew. God, mate, what we need is another house block. They should enhance all jails and make them all big, massive. Put a house block in every new jail, then for every rule breaker out there, you can fill it up. That's literally what it's getting filled up with, isn't it? Rule breakers, not law breakers. Well, in 2000, and this will shock a few of you. I don't know how I could. I was working really hard to find out more about this next one, yeah. Because once I see the headline's on the internet, but try and find the actual story where the headline come from. It's like it's been censored, never to be seen again. It's like the powers that be don't want you to know about the serious flea infestation of 2000 that affected prisoners and staff alike. Ooh. Why can't I find no more info on that? The headline was there. Serious flea infestation. Yeah, alright, yeah. It might be a bit funny. Get a chuckle or two. Nothing. Why? Why are they teasing me like that? Were they giving out them electric combs? Oh, mate, I used to hate that. Mate. You come back from school, head itching. You know what I mean? Local dirtbaggers give you fleas or something. And they'll say, yeah, it's alright, they only go and clean air. No, they don't. No, they don't. Like, we all know who used to catch it off. It'd be the dirty bod, mate. You know what I mean? It's always the way, isn't it? The dirty bod, you'll be going, yeah, they only go and clean air. Well, how come his head's crawling with it then? How come I've caught it if I got clean air? Anyway. You have to sit down with your own, like, rubbing the crap out your scalp, mate, with that comb. That stinking shampoo on it, mate, that burns your eyes out. Please, man. As of 2019, 1 in 5 inmates are said to take drugs. So that would be, what, 22%? I have failed a drug test. I should say that. I've failed a drug test. It doesn't mean they've taken it. How reliable are those drug tests, mate? Really? Come on. Nearly half of the prisoners said it was easy to get drugs, said the Chief Inspector of Prisons. I don't know why I've said this before, I think. I don't know why prisoners feel the need to tell an inspector, oh yeah, it's pretty easy to get them in here. Why? It's not like he's doing nothing with that info. He's writing a report about it and making it public. They're getting forced to do something about it. Now I don't care. But back then when I was in, I'd be like, mate, shut up. Now it gives me something to talk about. A 2022, so last year, Inspectorate of Prisons report found it had made little progress since the previous report 3 years prior, 2019. Another report got done. Basically, there's been no progress. There'd been slight. Well, I'll carry on, but this jail seems, compared to some of the others, pretty decent. I mean, the jail was judged not sufficiently good. Not sufficiently good. That sounds like a very polite way to say shit, doesn't it? Bad. Not sufficiently good. Education was poor. Inmates studying basic English and maths, which is mandatory, they were failing at. Those mandatory tests. It just didn't, I've heard people say it. Who knows if it's true, but it's just a scam. Jails get money for every time you do one of those tests, English and maths. So you end up at Chelmsford, English and maths. Then you get shipped to Elmley, same sentence, do your English and maths. So I've just done it in Chelmsford, do it again. And then you get sent to Highdown. I've done the English and maths in Elmley, then I did it in Chelmsford, and I do it again. Then you kick right off and you get sent to Whitemore. Like I mean, yeah, do your English and maths. Why? Why do you have to keep doing it? Why don't you just log it on a computer? Oh, because you get dough for it. Oh, okay. Teachers were not marking the tests correctly, probably because they get paid for each and every test, making the tests invalid. Use of force had gotten out of control, and it was 20% higher than the last inspection 3 years previous. 361 recorded incidents of use of force from staff was recorded in the previous 12 months. The paperwork was not filled out properly when batons and pepper spray was used. That's shocking, isn't it? How they sort of just forgot to do the paperwork when they had to get a telescopic out. Investigations had, this is all talking about the use of force, investigations had not been carried out to determine if the use of force and use of weapons was necessary. Body-worn cameras were not used properly. They were activated too late or not at all. Why don't they just make it a policy that the body-worn cameras have got to be on whenever you're on the clock, so to speak, on the job or whatever? I mean, if you're on your break, you can turn it off, but if you're walking around the prison grounds, in education, on the wing, in your office, wherever, it's got to be on. Then there's nothing, then you can't argue about it. If it's not on, you get sacked. And your SO, you know, the screw in charge of the wing and get a massive fine. Guaranteed I won't ever forget to turn them on again. You know, we all know why they don't turn them on, or they're late to turn them on, or whatever. It has the highest number. Elmley has the highest number of complaints of any local jail in the whole of England. Many inmates were saying that their complaints took too long or were simply ignored. That sounds like any jail I've ever been in, honestly. Our complaints are a waste of time. Yeah, but at least it's on record. So if there ever is a kick-off and people say, well, you never tried, you never did anything, at least you can say, well, it's on record that there's like 10 complaints somewhere. That's about all they're good for, just for the fact that it can be put on record somewhere down the line for when you do kick off. Other than that, you want to complain against a screw, so you've got to put the thing in the box so a screw can read it, and you want to complain against a screw. Oh, please. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's fair and unbiased, isn't it? Visits were handled well at the jail, even throughout the last couple of years. Let me just close that. Time out of the cell was good, despite of staff shortages and the restrictions which have been in place. But inmates that are employed were out of their cell for 7 hours, and unemployed were out of their cell for 5. That sounds pretty good. Can I just say that even though, you know, I'm taking the Chief Inspectorate's word for this, when I was in Elmley, I will say that it was boring, the amount of social that we had. I was always there. I never had a job. I wasn't there long enough, really. I never had a job, and yeah, I was out for hours. So say, get let out in the morning for when people go to work, say, and don't bang up again till lunch. There's loads of social. So some things never change. Is this the first report I've ever done? I've done a few on here now, but just the first report where there hasn't been complaints about people banged up for 23 hours a day. 7 hours for employed, 5. I mean, it gets to the stage where the employed probably moans, that's well unfair. We're only out for 7, they're out for 5. That'll all change. You want that each and every prisoner should pray that, because most cells have got phones in nowadays, haven't they? Most cells have got phones in. You just want to sort of pray that they don't put showers in there as well. If there's showers get put in prison cells, inmates are effed. What's the excuse to let you out of the cell then? Yeah, if the powers that be, I should say, because, you know, it's always the powers that be that mess things up, innit? Say, well, what do they need to get out for social? They've got a shower, and they say, well, I've got to be allowed to make a phone call, have a shower. They're both in the cell. There's not enough staff. It's raining. Got a headache. You can't come out. There's a flap in your door big enough for your plate. Frisbee it in 2 times a day, and then they'll just weld you up till your senses done. Bzzz, mate, that's proper bird. It's going that way, I think, as well. It's going. I got out. I stopped committing crimes at the right time, man. Because just at the right. There's never a right time. But mate, the way things are going, man, they will literally do that. If they start building showers in cells, just remember this. Remember I said this. I think, oh, that's it. The end of social is upon us. I honestly think that powers that be, the politicians, and all that, give a toss if inmates get social. Of course they don't care about saving money and earning money and whatnot. And if that means that they can not employ so many staff so and keep prisoners behind their door, you know what I mean. The report says the governor is well liked by staff and prisoners and had made some progress in building a more rehabilitative culture. So does number one's liked, or whatever the number one, they go through number ones in jails, they could have a different one by now. The one that was here in 2022, I think March, well liked. So I mean, this was the last report that's been done. Yeah, jail's probably the pits now. That's how quick things change. Even though use of force was high, levels of violence were below the national average for similar prisons. So even though, you know, the screws like to, by all accounts, on what it says here, whip out the old batons and spray, the actual recorded levels of violence is low. So why is that high? It says to me that the screws are bullies. What else are you going to take from that? In healthcare, it was understaffed, so was not able to provide a stable, high-quality service, which led to delays and lack of consistency. That's the same in every healthcare, in every jail I've ever been in, man. Every healthcare's shit. None of them believe you. They all just want to, you know, I've got a broken arm. It's a paracetamol. You know what I mean? I think our invoice is that paracetamol. It's about all they give you because they think you're lying, just to try and blag a codeine out of them. Man, it's ridiculous. It was judged not sufficiently good. There's that polite phrase again. Other words, shit. It was judged crap in the areas of safety, respect, purposeful activity, rehabilitation, and release planning. So it was sufficiently not good in everything. They're the only things that a jail gets tested on. And that was the exact same, so they made no progress. The exact same score came through for those four things in 2019. So areas of safety, respect, purposeful activity, and rehabilitation and release planning. Yeah, they're the only four things that a jail gets judged on anyway, and yeah, not good. I don't know why, like, because you read it, and if you didn't read that bit, what they say about, you know, low levels of violence, this, that, sounds like it's pretty good. I mean, high levels of complaints, but staff levels have decreased dramatically, although not yet at a critical level, and that's clearly not affected the association reason, getting people out and about. So yeah, it can't be told. I mean, every other report I've ever said says there's no staff, and it will be, you know, prisoners ain't allowed out because there's no staff, or because of the last couple of years and there's no staff. They don't use it as an excuse, so I don't see why other jails should be allowed to use it as an excuse when they can clearly say that, no, hold on a minute, Elmley don't use it as an excuse. But it ain't the way it is it? I mean, look, all the things that you talk about, yeah. The most important thing to me in jail is being out your cell, having something to do. Whether you're out your cell just having social, like 5 hours a day, they're probably not doing nothing purposeful, but they're out. That's the most important thing in it. Everything else sort of is how you make it. If you want to walk around feeling sorry for yourself that you've got too much social or whatever, that's on you, isn't it? That's on the person. But jail's a jail. I mean, what do people expect out of jails? I mean, just, it's not about, you know, just Get in there, put your head down and get out, and then tell probation that everything's hunky-dory until your licence is over, and then avoid them like the plague for the rest of your life. You're not going to get nothing out of it, so just make it where you say, as long as you're out your cell a lot, what more do you want in jail? The segregation unit was well run, with relationships between the staff and inmates said to be good. The inmates down the seg had good access to the mental health staff, although the cells were too hot and not always properly cleaned. And until recently, inmates were not able to shower every day. Oh yeah, sounds like any block, really. Punishment block, segregation unit. Since the last inspection in 2019, there have been 4 self-inflicted deaths. Reported self-harm was lower than in comparable prisons, but had increased since the last inspection, and was just carrying, and there was no sign that it was going to fall anytime soon. So yeah, so even though self-harm is low, it's increased since 2019. So it's probably low in 2019 too. And yeah, 30% of prisoners lived in overcrowded conditions. That's nothing new, is it? I mean, that's always the case. Overcrowded conditions, I would have said that 30% is sounding pretty low. I mean, I don't think that they do the triple and quadruple bang up and all that anymore. So yeah, so when I was there, it was probably closer to the 1,137 mark, which is the operational capacity. Can't take no more. When I was there, it's probably close to that, I'm presuming, because there was a lot of 3-man, 4-man bang up. And by the sounds of it, I don't know, don't quote, I may be wrong, but by the sounds of it, it looks like it's back to 1 or 2-man bang up, which is still too much when you're in. All those cells were designed for one person. They were all designed for one person. This is the same around the world, isn't it? This isn't a unique English gripe about prison cells. They were made for one person, and they've got 2-3 people in them. But I've sat here and worked myself up and got annoyed when I'm doing the Scrub special and the Chelmsford special, talking about the way the screws have acted down the block and things like that. But there's obviously loads of stuff that I don't know, isn't there, really? I've only got that off 2 reports, and only because they're recent, done within the last year and 2 years. There's going to be loads of stuff. There's going to be people that have been in there in the last 2 years going, what's he talking about? It sounds cushy. I'm just going by what I've read, and I'm just comparing it to the other ones that I've already done, and comparing it to places that I've been. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad, does it? Jails are a waste of time. Please don't commit crime. Please don't end up in jail, because it's a waste of life. I've done 10 years. What a waste. What a loser. Good thing that I've realised that before I did another 10, you know. And when you're 50 or close to 50, you sort of, yeah, that's not too good, is it? So but when I compare it to other stories about other places, that sounds like it was pretty well run. What else can I say? If you enjoyed that, hit subscribe, and we'll chat again. Adios.